Ahoy, mateys! Welcome to the show. This be episode 34. Okay, I'm done with the voice.
No, we're doing that the whole episode.
Yeah, we're all going to talk like pirates. Well, welcome to the show, everybody. Got a lot to talk about. We're real excited to get into it. I'm joined by the regulars. I think Fred has a new nickname by that was given to him by the Bestial Conclave, who's given us nicknames before. What did he say? This is regarding actually the Cryptopsy. We were talking about Cryptopsy in this regard. This is in regards to the Whisper Supremacy album, and Fred was saying that he likes Cryptopsy up until that album. That one he didn't like. And Bestial Conclave leaves a comment. He says, and I quote, "Fruitcake Fred can't handle Chad DeSalvo." Well, this is the same guy who also gave Paul the nickname. What was your name?
Poser Paul.
Poser Paul, the gay thrash hater. That was your nickname.
Yeah.
I mean,
oh, and Roman. Hey, what's up, Roman?
Two points on that. Two points on the nickname.
Yeah.
One, I don't mind it.
You don't mind Fruitcake Fred?
Nah. And two, I thought I got the nickname Black Metal Guy. I thought I usurped that one.
Yeah, you did usurp that one. I don't know if you knew about this, Roman. We had the Black Metal Guy on like 2 episodes prior, and we did Black Metal trivia, and our guy Fred here spanked him.
Man, impressive.
And now he's the Black Metal Guy.
And he's Fred.
That's what happens. When you defeat him in combat, you take his name.
Yep.
Yeah, he took his name too, so he'll be Fred on the next episode maybe.
Yeah.
If he doesn't forget.
We just swapped. I'm getting my birth certificate changed.
But now I wonder what Bestial Conclave's nickname is going to be for Dan.
Well, Vince gave me a nickname. He called me Desert Dan.
Well,
Get it happened to be.
I was gonna go with Dainty Dan.
Dainty Dan. I wouldn't call me dainty if you've ever met me. I'm kind of a fucking clumsy slob.
Dinky Dan.
I mean,
Dan.
I'm not a fruitcake, but here we are.
I'm not a fruitcake.
But how'd you get the Desert Dan name?
Because Miguel posted a Instagram thing, and I was sitting in the car, and we're driving out in the desert, and I was drinking a Budweiser. Because we went shooting. It's our yearly tradition. It's only the 2nd year in a row, but we went out, played with the shotguns and the fucking like assault rifles and stuff, and kind of just drank and had a good time.
Oh,
America.
Man. You guys are so lucky you live in America.
Why do you guys not go out shooting?
No, we go shovel snow.
I mean, you can't.
I wish I had snow here.
Well, you can shoot, but it's got to be at a range or a property with enough of a backstop, and then many different restrictions. I definitely couldn't. I wouldn't have access to as cool stuff as you were shooting, I'm sure.
Can't shoot for game?
No, man, I don't. Or who, me or him?
The Canadians.
Oh yeah, the Canadians. You guys go hunting?
Yeah, for sure.
We could.
Yeah, we do.
We could.
Yeah.
Fred says we could. Roman says we do. So you have gone out shooting like deer and stuff, or what?
I just go to Walmart.
No. I mean, I haven't, but Baron went on a hunting trip for deer not too long ago. And actually, in Ontario, a big thing that you can get is black bears for the most part. Actually, that's probably one of the better things you're gonna shoot up here. You get that and tag it. That's a couple 100 pounds of meat you can take home.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm gonna sound like a little pansy, but I don't know if I could. I don't know if I could bring myself to kill a bear or a deer. I feel like I'd feel too bad, and I'd be thinking about it. I'd have nightmares.
Yeah, I get that. My
Just get it
grandma-
at Walmart. Don't think about it.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't get deer at Walmart.
That dying anyways, right? So
Yeah, that's kind of the way I feel about vegans or vegetarians who kind of make a big deal about it. It's like, well, you can. you can go to the store right now and you can get bacon, you can get a cheeseburger. I mean, what difference are you making? I don't understand.
Yeah.
You're not killing it yourself.
I'm not killing it myself.
That's the problem, right?
Like, supply and demand.
Reject modernity.
Yep. Anyway.
No, I was just taking a drag of the cigarette.
What a strange tangent.
Yeah, before we go, men's core.
But yeah, dude, not a whole lot of crazy stuff happened. Me and Miguel started drinking at about 8 in the morning. I usually don't do anything close to that. Usually drink IPAs because when you're drinking IPAs, then you can go to bed right after. Because I'm drinking IPAs now, and what am I going to do right after this? Fucking probably just go to bed, watch Everybody Loves Raymond or something.
Yeah, that makes sense. Apparently, hops used to be like something people prescribed as a sleep aid, and IPA has like a ton of hops in it. So, there you go.
Yeah, you get kind of fucked up, and then you can just go to bed, and it's fun. As opposed to the Budweisers kind of all day long. I think we were, started at 8, and then we left about 3. So, however many hours that is, and then on the way back, I had a giant headache. But well, Miguel or Paul, you know Miguel. He's kind of a wacky guy.
Yeah.
A couple goofy things happened. Robbie gave me his I don't know what it is, maybe some kind of assault rifle or something. It's fucking loud. And he gives it to me, and he set up this metal target, and it pings every time. And it's kind of easy because it has the fucking laser target on it, so you're hitting every single ding 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 ding. And Miguel, I guess, didn't have his earplugs in, so I shot first shot, bing, and I hear, and I look over and Miguel's like, I popped my earplugs in. But I guess Nathan fucking freaked out when he saw Miguel freak out, and he ducked and ran for cover because he thought I was gonna shoot them or something.
Dan went AWOL.
Yeah. No, I didn't. I was pointing out into the desert the whole time. But that's kind of what Nathan was doing too. He I don't know. I think he went shooting with us once, maybe in 2015 or something. And he did pretty good. But this time he kept forgetting oh, don't point the gun at people. So he's kind of moving it around. We're like, shit, Nathan. And then Trevor gave me a piece of beef jerky, and I ate it. I go, what flavor is this? And I look at the thing. It says spicy pickle flavor. I say, okay. And then he gives one to Miguel. He said, oh, I wanted to see your reaction. I said, well, that was my reaction. He gives one to Miguel. I go, oh, what the fuck? He starts spinning. And then Nathan goes, oh, I forgot to tell you, Miguel hates pickles. Yeah, so he's spitting out the pickle beef jerky. Yeah, I mean, it was kind of just a cool trip, just fucking bro time. Rob brought his boy, and he just kind of sat there playing with a fucking dinosaur with earphones on.
Thrash lover Rob.
Yeah, dude, he actually asked me. He's like, I brought the iPod with the JBL, and he's like, yo, play some Adamcraft. And I told him, I was like, oh, we just did an episode of Adamcraft. I mentioned you, but it's funny. I brought my iPod and I just had it on shuffle, and I mostly just have metal stuff. And these guys aren't really into metal at all. They're more I don't know, classic rock or hip. Fuck it. These are normies. These are my normal friends. So I had them listening to Evoken and fucking Dub Buck and Gut and stuff.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so it's kind of cool.
Complete tangent, but at the beginning where you did the pirate voice and you dropped it immediately after that, that reminds me of, have I ever told you the story about how me and some of the guys went to Warriors of Metal in Ohio?
No.
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay. So me, Baron, and a couple of my other buddies, we basically was like, man, this is 2013. I don't know, somewhere around that, maybe 2012. But basically at Warriors of Metal, Hellstar and Manila Road were playing, and I'm like, okay, I got to see this. Plus Twisted Tower Dire, So and a whole bunch of other bands, and essentially the whole metal festival was out on somebody's ranch, and there was just a band shell on it, and people were just camping out at the place. It was pretty cool. The whole thing was pretty awesome, to be honest. But the thing is, on the way down, we were telling each other, okay, when we get there, we're going to tell them we're all from Australia, and we're going to talk in an Australian accent the whole time that we're there. And we're only going to drink Fozzies. We're only going to drink Fosters. And we're going to tell stories about how, like, the Prime Minister of Australia is a croc. And, like, you know, how you need to, like, wrestle a crocodile to become Prime Minister of Australia. And so we're, like, hyping ourselves up, like, the whole way down. And we're like, and then the first thing we do when we get there is like, oh, yeah, hey, we're from Canada.
Oh, you didn't do it?
No, that was the punchline. It was totally anticlimactic. I think the funniest thing that happened is one of our friends told somebody that that sheepdog from Razor, you know, Razor from Toronto, the
Yes.
sheepdog from Razor like formed a jazz band or something like that, and he just kind of rolled that story.
What was that?
Oh man, I'm gonna
everybody
back
put out
connection
for a
to show
second.
this. Okay.
I said, is Sheepdog the guy who is the Anvil fan and the Razor fan, or is that somebody else?
Sheepdog was in Razor,
I was thinking about that. What was that guy's name? Did you ever see the Anvil documentary? I think his name was not Mad Dog, the other guy.
I don't know. I've actually never watched that. No, Sheepdog was
it's quite funny.
I know it's funny. I know the cultural references and everything, and I think I've seen a couple of clips, but never actually watched it. No, Sheepdog was the vocalist of Razor from like '84 to '89, and apparently he was actually he was in Infernal Majesty too, that's kind of cool. Yeah, but anyway,
Taking a sip of the beer there.
We completely dropped that like within like 5 minutes of getting there, and then a tornado happened. Yeah, and then,
were you guys in the tornado?
Yeah, pretty much, man. I mean, we all thought we were gonna die. Like basically the wind started kicking up because this is in Ohio, right? And it's hot, muggy day, and like there's clouds and lightning in the distance, and I just don't think much of it. But the air is really still. And that's usually a trigger for. That's usually a telltale sign that there's going to be a tornado. And so, anyways, you know, like the wind starts picking up, and it doesn't stop, and it just keeps going and going and going. And like, so there's this band shell with like a tin roof, and a square like meter of tin just rips off the top. And I'm like, all right, well, these are my last thoughts. It's like I'm gonna get decapitated by a sheet of tin. It's like it's
goodbye,
over,
Mother Earth.
Death by metal.
Yep. And then
I think me and Christian actually did something like that. Or go ahead. You were.
Oh, no worries. Yeah. And then then it started raining, and we had like these 5-liter like mini kegs of Newcastle Brown that we were drinking out of, and we drove around in Baron's car in the rain, blasting middle of the road after the tornado happened. It was like it was yeah. We were listening to Fires of Mars. It was a good time, man. It was a good trip. Anyways, you just made me think of that.
Yeah. Well, you made me think of me and my friend actually did something like that. We went to a party where we didn't know anybody, and we told them we were from the Faroe Islands in the middle of the North Atlantic, and we were speaking in
Faroe Islands?
That's right, yeah, where Tira's from, and well, nobody's gonna question it, and we were speaking in gibberish, fucking gibberish, talking to each other, and everybody believed it.
Dude, that's amazing.
Yeah, and our friend, he kind of talks fucked up already, so.
Yeah, this guy, it's really strange. I think he originally grew up in Missouri or something, and then moved to California when he was, I don't know, maybe 10 or something. But he sounds like a Swedish guy who's having trouble, like, speaking the English language. So it's kind of like, hi Paul, how's it going, dude? The fuck out, yeah, dude, I've been listening to fucking Razor, but listen to fucking It's a strange accent.
Man, okay. I see how you got away with it now.
Yeah, it kind of just worked. Oh, I was gonna say, Paul, on the way back from when we went shooting, I told Miguel, I was like, man, I have a fucking headache, dude. And he's like, oh, dude, take a hit of this. The fucking like those, not an e-cigarette, but the you know, those like weed pen things.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't usually smoke weed at all. I don't like the high. I don't like the way it feels. But I only took one puff, and feel a little weird, but it kind of like made everything fucking hilarious. And like Miguel like just kind of did a couple things on the way back, like as we were almost home, that were fucking hilarious. He called his dad. And he goes, watch, my dad's going to be fucking angry. And I'm like, all right. So he calls his dad. He goes, Dad. He's like, what do you say? He goes, where's my daughter? He goes, she right here on the couch. He goes, did she eat? He goes, yeah, I ate. He goes, no, not if you wait. He goes, did she eat? He goes, cabron, what do you think? And then he hangs up the phone. And then right after that, we're like on the off ramp to get on the exit, and there's like we're kind of like stopped a little bit, and then there's like a little bit of space on the side of the road where you're not supposed to drive.
Shoulder.
So Miguel drives, on the shoulder. He's driving on the shoulder on the off ramp, and he cuts off some guy who was driving in. And like right where we stopped, there's the fucking flower lady, and Miguel buys 2 things of flowers. And for some reason, when you're high and that happens, I don't know. I just thought it was really funny. And he's like, here, give this to your mom. I was like, yeah, that's a good idea. And he's thinking about it. He's like, I'm like, who are you going to give the flowers to, your wife or your mom? He's like, I'm thinking about it, pal.
Split it up, huh?
Yeah. What was funny, too, is when we were driving back, Miguel's like a big fan of like really normie classic rock, so the Doors and Pink Floyd and stuff. But we're listening to Have a Cigar from Pink Floyd, and I even told him, like, dude, there's something so funny about smoking weed and listening to Pink Floyd. It's like such a normie, like, out of the body experience.
Yeah,
it's like, whoa, man.
It's like your rite of passage, yeah.
Yeah, the rite of passage. It's like 8th grade all over again.
it's the the meta humor of how stereotypical it is. It's like, man.
So now you got a stoner metal record coming, right?
Yeah, it's coming because of that Pink. Yes, because of that Pink Floyd experience. We got a stoner. We got an hour-long stoner metal record coming.
Perfect.
It's gonna sound like Bongzilla mixed with
Weed Eater.
I don't know who. Weed Eater or Bongzilla or I don't know who's another stereotypical stoner metal band.
Why did you go back into pirate mode?
You got to do Sleep's Dope Smoker, except make it longer. So instead of like an hour long.
Pen Smoker?
Yeah, it wasn't long enough.
Exactly. It's like 1 hour, that's nothing. But then that's the joke everybody always makes about my writing it into Oblivion. So,
yeah, song's too long.
Yeah, it's too short.
The fine line between stoner and doom.
Yeah, we were just talking about this like right before the show, but I told Paul I asked Roman to be on the show on Monday when we did last week's episode, and then not 3 days later, oh, here we go, Cromlech on fucking Terminus. I'm like, this guy's gonna be burned out. Terminus is gonna hate us even more than they already do.
You're stealing our content.
No, I think they already know what's going on. They're cool. They've both been guests on the show.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was hoping you wouldn't be too burned out on podcasts.
No, all good. I've been ducking you guys for too long. The last time I was on here, Cromlech was still a band. So
yeah,
he's gonna pass out halfway through the episode, guaranteed.
Yeah.
Just hear snoring.
I know you talked about it extensively on the Terminus podcast, but if you want to mention anything about the new band, if I'm pronouncing this right, Mormegil, is that right?
Yeah, Mormegil. Yeah. Essentially, we're just really picking up where we left off with Cromlech. We're going to be playing a lot of Cromlech material live. It's basically all of us minus Baron. Baron, due to time commitments and some other stuff, like he couldn't do the band anymore, and it was what it was. It was so it was a little bit difficult at the time, obviously, because we've been playing music together for God knows how long, but we kind of just quickly regrouped after that, and I got eventually we will announce the 5th member. I mentioned this on the Terminus podcast, but the only 2 words I'll say are Samurai Cop.
Samurai Cop.
Yeah, Samurai Cop. Yes. Anyways, it's essentially just a continuation of Cromlech. We're going in the same direction we were going before. The name Mormegil is basically it's if you know the Silmarillion and Tolkien's work. Turin Turambar is one of the names for him at one point is Mormegil, which means the Black Sword, which is also like he had there was his famous like cursed black sword called Gurthang. But for some reason, Mormegil was a name that really stuck in our heads, and yeah, we decided to go with that. And yeah, I mean, essentially, we're just picking up where Cromlech left off, and we're going to keep going. I mean, in that way, not a lot has changed from before, and we really want to just continue and amplify the direction the Cromlech was going in before.
So
I have
epic
to say, I
doom
love the
with
name
Slaughterlord
Mormegil
parts.
because that is one of the best stories in the entire Tolkien thing.
Oh,
The
dude.
the separate book they
There you
released
go.
for it, Children of Hurin, is
Yeah.
incredible. I love it.
Yeah,
It's
actually,
so
it's
so
funny.
depressing.
Have you ever gotten like because at first everybody's always familiar with Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit and the Silmarillion, and then you got like those one-off books like Children of Hurin. Are you familiar with the whole History of Middle Earth series?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So I knew about that for a long time, but I never actually had a copy of it. Kevin actually got me one for my birthday this year, and I've been reading through that, and it's amazing just going through all the alternate drafts
Yeah.
for all of these stories, and like little things he changed along the way, and it just kind of pads out the whole world. And Legendarium he created a lot more. So yeah, stuff like that. There's like whole sections on Turin Turambar in there that are really cool. It's definitely things that I'm reading in here are going to be inspirations for future lyrics in Mormegil, and already have been.
From here, I'm staring at my bookshelf. I can see the Lord of the Rings trilogy, The Hobbit, Silmarillion, Unfinished Tales, Children of Hurin, Baron and Luthien, and The Fall of Gondolin.
Oh man.
All
Nice.
first,
I've
all
got-
first
I've got,
pressings, or
It better
Do you-
be.
I mean, the new
Yeah,
ones
listen,
are, yes, but the
are they in the
Or-
original Elvish though?
they're in the original Klingon, like Shakespeare.
I'm a rocket man. Sorry, taking a drag of that cigarette one more time.
Yeah, no worries. Yes, that's the short on Mormegil right there. We've already got. We have one song more or less completed. We have another one that we've got about 8 minutes of, and I feel like I barely started it. We got some other stuff we're working on too. I mean, it's coming along. It's coming along. Gonna jam on Wednesday night, and it's good. The new guy we got in is he's a really solid guitarist. He's a really solid guitarist. He's a little more familiar, generally speaking, with like 80s kind of stuff. That's really what I remember when I met him that he was into. But he's adapted himself to the kind of epic doom plus extreme metal dynamic that we have in the band.
So with this new project, are you guys kind of just getting the name out there right now? Because I can't imagine you guys are going to have an album anytime soon, just judging by the other Cromlech releases, right?
You know what? I think
Sooner than
think-
we think.
it's probably sooner than you think, because the thing is that the change of having Baron leave the band kind of kicked our ass and put us back in gear, I think. Well,
that's good.
I think, yeah. The motivation's actually probably kicked up a lot, because I don't know what it is. I have the feeling that we're back right now. It's good. It's good. There's a lot of enthusiasm, and we're all like excited about where the project's going. So that really just encourages me to sit down and write more, and I think we'll be seeing an album. Yeah, it's not gonna be 10 years for another album. Don't worry.
Okay.
No. To be fair,
This,
we-
this
Just keep
decade,
hyping
right?
hype it up for 10 years.
yeah, okay, yeah, there we go. To be fair, we did release an EP and a split in that time period, so it wasn't totally dead.
Yeah.
Between
No.
Ave Mortis and Scent of King.
Oh,
But yeah, it's not.
yeah,
gonna- it's not
that
gonna be
EP
10
was
years.
fucking amazing.
Oh, cheers. Okay. Well,
Total Blind
essentially-
Guardian.
Well, the thing is, 2 of those songs were actually supposed to be on the album, but we just decided to like not do the album at that time and do an EP instead, because we just weren't going to be able to fit all the material on an album.
Yeah, I think it was that first song where you guys had a lyric. It said, "And your father, and your father's father," something like that.
Oh yeah, and his children's children. Yes,
Yeah, and his children. Yeah, that was amazing.
Children's children, and after that, all the race that is his. Yeah, that's the line you mean. Oh yeah, dude, that.
That's Iron Will, right?
Yeah, Kevin's
think
got
it is,
Kevin's got a knack for lyrics, man. What can I say?
You guys had a meme, or it wasn't a meme really. It was just kind of a video that you guys had on your Facebook page, and it said when Taco Bell announces they're no longer serving potatoes, and it's Kevin going, "No!"
Dude, okay, you nailed his voice perfectly too, with the exaggerated vibrato. Okay, so that actually reminds me. That reminds me because that goes back to a running joke. It goes back to a running joke with Nick from Hessian Firm. So because we're always joking about because Kevin's Irish, so we're always making the potato jokes. And
Oh, is that what that was about?
yes, that's what the potatoes are.
Okay.
So Nick.
It's like the next fucking potato famine. No potatoes at Taco Bell.
So Nick actually, and then remember, like he's in Europe, right? So Nick actually ordered a bag of potatoes to Kevin's house because he thought it was funny, and it showed up like. It showed up like while his like kids were having a birthday party or something, and Kevin's just like, "Great, free bag of potatoes, man! This is awesome."
Got a package from Hessian for him. Oh, cool. It's like during a time you're not thinking about metal, you're not thinking about your band. It's like a kid's birthday party. A bag of potatoes. Were they cooked or were they just like actually just potatoes?
No, it was just a regular bag of potatoes, man.
Okay. Oh, great. Oh, great.
Kevin's like, "Great, I get to eat tonight."
Yes.
Yeah, just bust out one of those vibratos right when you get the bag. Fucking bag secured.
Man, but are you guys still working with Into Oblivion, or is that on pause with Mormegil?
So yeah, we're definitely still working with Into Oblivion. We have we have a ton of new material that we've got.
Nice.
It's definitely still in the works. There's been a few changes that have happened that I have to I'll need to make an official announcement on it before the year's out. But things have been really busy. Obviously there was the reformation of Cromlech into Mormegil, and all of us having stuff going on in our lives. But Into Oblivion is still definitely kicking. We're still around. We got material, and I'm writing more material. Heck, man, I got 2 songs. That's like half the album already. So
40 minutes.
Yeah. Okay. Let me think. Actually, because one of them is about 15. The other one's about about half an hour so far. Yeah.
Well, all right. That's basically an album. That was our last album.
Yeah, I like to wait to release albums until I got the whole CD full up, though. That's just kind of how that's how I do it.
Yeah, good filling up with content, like you said.
Yeah, exactly, man. You want people to get what they're paying for, I guess. But yeah,
give them a giant booklet.
Still ticking.
What was that? Sorry, you guys talking at the same time.
Oh crap!
No, I said give him a giant booklet too. The Cromlech booklet was fucking huge.
Oh, it had to be though.
This is like another unfinished Tales.
Yeah, exactly. No, come on. Like, we'd been working on this album for so long. I wanted to make sure. Listen, I always love any album
I'm listening.
where it's like, I always love any album where it's just like, where it's like Wagner was talking about his operas, like the Gesamtkunstwerk or whatever, like the total artwork, where it's like everything bleeds into everything else, where like, the lyrics, the music, the setting, and to a very large degree, like the album cover and the booklet is part of that. It's kind of part of the whole experience of getting it. Like, if you're gonna order a CD, you might as well get something there.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You need give him a giant booklet. That's what you need.
There's nothing more disappointing than getting a CD and you open the booklet and it's just 2 blank
And it's
pages.
front and back.
What the fuck is this? Unisound and Wild Rags. I'm looking at you.
Well, that's what Winter Solace used to do for us too.
Inside's
It was
blank.
like a front and a back.
No,
Even
but
though it was like
there's
a
a front and
split
a
with
back
three
is one
bands.
thing, but like there's a front and a back, like that's pretty bare bones. But if it's like even like you can open it, but there's nothing inside, it's like what the fuck is this?
It's just the back of the paper.
Yeah, literally. Like Unisound and Wild Rags did a bunch like that. And you open it, you're like, what the fuck is this? There's nothing in here.
Yeah, give him a refrigerator magnet for goodness sake.
Yeah, I got
Yeah.
I got the Cromlech patch along with
Nice.
the CD. So
Nice. I was really happy with how that turned out.
yeah, that one's
So,
sick.
Oh man, yeah, it was those patches were they were pro. Who the guys that did them for us, fantastic.
Yeah, it's like in a sick like hexagon shape.
Yeah, I don't think that was intentional or whatever, but it worked.
Yeah, it's like the fucking what is that? The symbol of Solomon or something? I'm thinking of like the not the Star of David, the Kabbalah one, the one where you like summon demons.
Oh wait, you're talking about like the what is that the
Lesser Key of
Kabbalic
Solomon?
tree? Like
Yeah, the Tree of Life. There you
yeah,
go.
the tree of life. Yeah.
Oh, the Sephiroth and the Cliffoth.
I thought that was called like the hexaedral or something like that. Some like a shape
Yeah.
within a shape within a shape.
Nope, just a hexagon.
There's a lot.
No,
of
I know, but I
different-
was referring to I was referring to Kabbalah wizardry magic.
I don't know. The funniest thing I ever saw with regard to the Tree of Life is I don't know. Are you guys familiar with all the Norwood memes that go on online? Like male pattern baldness, that kind of stuff.
Wait, but
No.
Norwood
Okay.
male pattern baldness?
Yeah. So okay. Wow. Okay. This is a funny tangent to get into right here. Okay. So anyways, long story short, obviously men losing their hair get very self-conscious about it, and and essentially there's like a scale of how bald you are, and it's like the Norwood scale or something.
Oh shit, I'm
And so-
looking at it right here.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so somebody took the Norwood scale and like superimposed it over like the Kabbalic Tree of Life. it's like that's like, man, that's classic meme where that's like has a meme potential of 5. Like, not
The
many
balder you are, the more of a wizard you are. The more you can control demons, the balder you are.
people- probably.
Samuel Jackson's like on top of this shit.
Full head of hair is untouchables, sanitation workers, street sweepers.
Exactly. Yes, that's right.
What are the
man.
bald guys like? Philosophers, thinkers,
Philosopher
something like that.
kings. Yes.
Yeah.
Philosopher kings, the bald.
Men destined to define eras and change history. He'll be remembered for millennia to come.
Listen, you need to make sacrifices for knowledge and power. I suppose that sacrifices your hairline.
So is that saying that all these fucking
Seems like a
soy
good
jacks
trade.
are philosopher kings now?
Oh man. Oh.
Yeah, all these
Yes.
Nintendo Switch players, are they philosopher kings? Do they know something that we don't know?
Possible, man. It's their world. We're just living in it.
It's their world.
Yeah, embracing tradition with the retro gaming.
Yeah, I love the hustle and the bustle of the big city. You go to the arcade bar tonight.
You go to the arcade. Man, I just opened the autism valve with the Norwood memes right here, didn't I? I think so. I'm just like, man.
It doesn't take much to open that, though.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Wait until I have a couple more beers.
So how about you guys? How about Paul and Fred? What you guys been up to in the past week? Anything funny? Anything cool?
Yesterday I watched Dream Scenario,
What in the hell is that?
the new Nick Cage movie.
Oh,
Is that good?
okay.
It was
Or is it not so
Cagey.
good? You can be honest.
like a horror comedy. Not
He's bald in this movie.
yeah, he's on the
Oh, okay.
so he's good.
Boding, that's boding well.
It was good until it got sort of in a like a social commentary towards the end. Like if it was just like a movie, it would have been great without any message behind it. But
Always got to be the damn mess. Well, it's an A24 movie.
yeah,
so-
exactly. But Yeah, so to give you like a synopsis, it's like this random just professor. He's like a evolutionary biologist. He's like teaching in college, and he's just a normal, ordinary guy. And then for some random reason, everyone in the nation is like having dreams of him, and you just
Because he's bald.
And I thought it was gonna be like like an episodic kind of thing where it was like, oh, you're gonna see him in every dream, and it's gonna come out like that. But and then I guess people start having like nightmares and like vilify him because he's like murdering and raping people and shit. And then and then it's like gets into cancel culture and blah blah blah.
Cancel culture? What is that? How
Yeah, 'cause
how does a movie get into cancel culture?
Because they cancel him for being like
For being bald.
a murderer in their dreams?
Yeah, exactly. He's like, I didn't fucking do anything though. He's like, it's just like what people think of him because in their subconscious he's a murderer and a raper.
He's I hate to say this, but he's triggering them. In
Exactly.
Their
Yeah.
dreams.
There's like a whole scene about that.
I'm sorry I had to say that word.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
So it was definitely good at the beginning half until it got into that sort of stuff. Like if it would have just been like the episodic, dream scenarios, like the name implies, then I think it would have been a good movie. But I think it's like a 6 out of 10.
Okay, so
Like-
I got two questions.
And like Nick Cage was, phenomenal acting in there. Like nothing nothing on him. It was just kind of more the writing, I think.
Nothing to sneeze about.
Yeah. But what was your questions?
Oh, my second question was going to be about Nick Cage's acting, and that you answered it, so that's good. Just come on, man. Like, Nick Cage is like, it doesn't even matter how bad the movie is. At a certain point, that's almost a selling point, just because he's
Yes.
acting badly.
Yes, that's a great point. That is a great
I was
point.
gonna say, to cut you off real quick, like we watched Renfield because of that, because we thought Nick Cage was gonna be like the starring actor in it, and the movie was trash. Nick Cage was hardly in it, and he was kind of trash in
Oh,
there.
really?
Yeah, we saw Renfield
They really
in the
play it
theaters.
off
I did
like
not
he's.
like it.
They really play it off the movie.
Yeah, like the trailers are like, oh,
They
it's
know,
like,
they know what'll drop.
but yeah,
I think we're all cutting off here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm hearing that too.
But anyways,
Okay, I can hear you all now, though.
yeah, I can hear you guys.
because we
Let's just
dropped
all
the
talk at the same time. It works better that way.
yeah we
Yeah,
Yes,
everybody
absolutely.
starts screaming.
we dropped the pirate voice. That's why it's happening. We got it cursed.
Darn, we got to
Because it was-
return back.
And remember, piracy is a crime.
But
We have to talk like the ways of yore.
what were you saying though, Roman?
Oh, yeah, that was like, I was just the Nick Cage
Pirate
question.
voice.
And I was also just going to ask whether the movie was anti-bald propaganda.
I think it sounds like it. They're vilifying this man for no reason, and he just happens to be bald. Yeah, I don't buy it.
Yeah, exactly. They're jealous of his superior powers.
Yeah, you know what? I don't think we've ever gotten into Nick Cage on this show yet, but I'd like to get into it a little bit. Are there any Nick Cage movies that you guys like? Because I have quite a few that I'm a big fan of.
Oh man.
Oh, what's the one where he goes totally batshit in?
Vamp.
That sounds like quite a few of them.
Fucking Ghost Rider, bro.
Yeah.
No.
Oh my god. That's such a great line that, well, we have to make sure he's not the Antichrist.
I'm gonna go
what's
classic
it
here. The Wicker Man remake.
Oh yeah, that one's great.
Oh, it's like
Not the
literally
bees!
oh, dude, I remember like Baron and I were watching that, and like every other line is like him in the movie reminding everybody that he's a police officer. So like Baron and I are just like, I'm a cop. They're just doing that the whole way through. It's like, I'm a cop. By the way, I'm a cop. You're in direct contravention of cop officer law right now.
Roman, did you ever see the movie Point Break, Keanu Reeves?
No, I haven't.
No? He's an undercover cop, and he's like going undercover as a surfer, and he's kind of like infiltrating surf hangout groups to find the real criminal. And then when he does, it's Patrick Swayze, his like best bro, and they want him to like rob a bank, and he goes, "This is your fucking wake up call, Brody. I am an FBI agent."
Oh Okay, I got to see this now.
Man, but
Well, the guy from the Stoned Age is in that. If you've ever seen the Stoned Age, no?
No,
Which
haven't seen that either.
The redhead, Joe.
okay.
Yeah, dude. If you guys haven't seen the Stoned Age, look it up right now. It's from 1990, I think.
Yeah,
It's
that's just great.
I think on the DVD it says better than Dazed and Confused, and I would agree with that. It is better than Dazed and Confused. It's one of these 90s movies where it's about like 70s rockers, but I feel like this movie kind of takes that and makes it the ultimate cheese, but also the ultimate just like comedy movie. It's incredible.
Yeah, shit's good. But
The Nick Cage movie I usually go to is Vampire's Kiss. That's the one.
Vampire's Kiss is good.
Yep, it's fun.
Have you guys
You seen Mandy?
I didn't like Mandy. I thought Mandy was boring.
So I didn't like it a ton either, but one thing I thought was cool is that the axe he uses is based on the Celtic Frost logo.
No kidding. Okay,
Yeah.
that's funny because I remember somebody was mentioning I never
Celtic
actually,
Frost equals metal equals brain blister.
equals fucking sick. Gonna watch that.
Yeah, equals sick.
Yes, I'm a simple man. I hear Celtic Frost.
Yep.
And
That's all there is
You're
to
like
it.
boing.
Yeah, I remember. I never saw Mandy, but I remember everybody telling me it's like that the movie was metal, in the sense of like it just had that kind of aesthetic to it. Like it was like something that should be like every scene was something that should be airbrushed on the back of a denim jacket or something. Was the quote I remember somebody saying once. But yeah, never actually watched it.
I like
Yeah, it had its moments, but it was generally slow and a bit anticlimactic. So yeah. Vampire's Kiss is better.
It introed with a King Crimson song, that Starless and Bible Black. That was cool.
Oh man, that's good.
Yeah, from the Red album. There you go.
the most metal King Crimson got.
Probably. I think they actually did some kind of like genty stuff later on, but maybe we can just forget about that.
Yeah, every once in a while I go through this pattern where I'm like, hey, how did Discipline sound again? And then I go back and listen to it. I'm like, that's I can't listen to King Crimson past a certain point. I get
Red might be the final album for me.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because the ones with Greg Lake on vocals, those were really great. I don't know if you guys are fans of like 70s prog, like Emerson, Lake and Palmer. I was a big fan of them, and King Crimson.
I grew up with that band.
Yeah, they were terrific. Yeah, the first two King Crimson albums with Greg were fucking awesome. The Wake of Poseidon and then Court of the Crimson King.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's about as classic as it gets right there. I always tell people my favorite prog album is Close to the Edge by Yes, and I said that once in front of a friend of mine, and he's like, that's a funny way of saying in the Court of the Crimson King.
I feel like you can't really compare those two albums. They're so different. Close to the edge, down by the river. Don't find it.
That one where it's like it just stops and it's like ah.
Oh yeah, that part. Yeah. I think that was their peak. After that, like Yes just started going a little bit too overboard.
Then they went Loner of the Lonely Hut.
Yeah, then
Loner of a Lonely Hut.
Hey, but they progressed well with the times, for like that 80s style.
I thought the Moody Blues progressed well for the times as well.
But yeah, I think Genesis, Selling England by the Pound is one of my favorites.
Oh, that's a fantastic album, man.
Yeah, classic Peter Gabriel. I think we're all Peter Gabriel heads.
Yeah.
Fred?
Yeah, Sledgehammer, dude.
Man,
not Fred. Fred made a noise.
Yeah.
You don't like Peter Gabriel?
I don't dislike it. I just wouldn't go out of my way to listen to it.
Fred's a Magma guy.
Oh, Magma. Okay.
Magma's fun.
Man, I haven't listened to Magma in forever. What was the one, Destructive Mechanic Commando or whatever it was? That was the
Sounds like a thrash album.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the one. Yeah, hang on. Yeah, that was like that really weird. Yeah, Zool. That was the name of the genre. They had this really like weird side, genre of prog rock. Yeah, Mechanic Destructio Commando. That was the one from 1973, and that was a weird sounding album, man. It's kind of cool. I haven't
The
listened to it in a long time.
the band I really like in that style is a French band called Shub, and they released
Bro, I love Yaaarrrgh, man.
that album Les Morts Vont Vite. Oh my god, I love it.
Yeah. It's man. It's
What was that? 88,
it.
something like that.
Yeah,
86.
it was 86, but it's kind of sounds like it has like all the darkness of metal, but it's like played like in a spooky prog rock style. It's like
So
it's so good.
either this will sound like complete insanity and make absolutely zero sense, or it will like just click and make perfect sense to you. When I listen to Les Morts Vont Vite, the band that comes to front of mind is actually Abruptum.
Oh, okay. Actually, that does kind of make sense because Abruptum was really weird too.
And they play everything just like slightly off key and make it really unsettling, and it's practically improvised. You have no idea where it's going to go next. Like from a music perspective, no, it doesn't sound like Abruptum, but the vibes it gives me and the feeling I get from it is the same.
Yeah, you know what? I get that. I get that. So it's a funny thing that every time I play every time I play the Shub album in the jam space, Le Mot Va Vite, it's funny because like I don't even know I don't even know if the female vocalist is supposed to be singing in French or whether she's trying to sing some intentional made up language or something very Lovecraftian. I don't know.
I
But
think
like,
it's in French. I think
okay,
I've recognized some words in French as I listen to it, but it's very
okay.
operatic and very off key. It's hard to tell.
Yes, exactly. So like the first line of the first song, what's the first song called again? Hang on. It's but anyways, it sounds like when she starts singing it, like Jake and Brandon are always like it sounds like she's singing chicken tandoori. So she's going chicken tandoori.
Isn't that the worst? You hear that and you can never unhear it.
Yeah,
You
that's
can,
that's
and
I
then you
had
can like that. It always takes you out of the moment. There's a part on. So my favorite Graveland album is Immortal Pride,
oh, okay.
and there's one spot in the first song, not the intro, but the first like proper song. I don't know what the actual lyrics are, but it sounds like he says cross dresser, and I'm like I can never unhear that.
It's a
And every
different
time
kind
I
of
hear
pride.
that part, every time I hear that part of the song, I'm like,
Oh, dude.
maybe if I read the actual lyrics, I could bring it back, but I've chosen not to and just live with that perception.
Fruitcake Fred's favorite
You know,
lyric.
forget. I got to say, for somebody that like, for whom Graveland is like one of the best bands in black metal, I've actually Immortal Pride is one that like I've never like I've listened to it like once or twice. I usually overlook it in favor of the other ones because, well, you look through Graveland's catalog and like there's so much material there. It's
Yeah,
so you'd say Immortal Pride is your favorite, eh?
it is.
Oh man, okay.
That's right, eh?
It's a weird transition album, so it's still got a lot of that black metal sound to it. Capricornus is still on drums, so it's still it's still kind of stupid sounding, and it's kind of transitioning towards the Creative Iron sound, but it's not quite there yet. And the blend of the two is just awesome, and it's especially weird. That's just those two really long tracks, but they're really immersive. It's got the
Yeah,
choirs from later Graveland too, but it's still raw like early Graveland. Like it's well, not the earliest Graveland, but
yeah, but no, I
Power of
remember
Voice
that's
and
the
all
one
that.
thing I remember about it was how long the songs were.
Yeah.
It's like there's
That
like in excess
that's
of
the
20
that's a
minutes.
downside for it, I guess, because if you want to listen to it, you have to commit because you can't just listen to a couple songs here and there and be like, I love this album, I'll play this song, I'll play that song. No, if you're gonna listen to either one of the tracks, you have to commit to it.
Wait. Roman will make a 20-minute song, but he won't listen to one.
Damn right. You
Okay, not true. I totally would, but hey, listen.
Hey, that's not true, asshole.
Asshole Paul.
You just
Asshole,
hate me.
Paul.
You just hate
Fucking
me
prick
'cause
face
I'm bald.
ball.
Cross-dresser.
No, actually, that's why we love you, because you're bald.
So, by the way, that reminds me. Speaking of that's crazy to think that I never put that together. That Immortal Pride is the last one Capricornus is on.
Yep.
That reminds me how we always had a running joke that Capricornus's "Alone Against All" is my favorite DMX album.
That image has been on at least
the album cover.
that cover has been that picture has been used for at least 3 album covers that I'm aware of.
Really?
Yep.
Okay. What are the other ones? I'm curious now.
Oh, fuck. Hang on.
Got serious
I'm
for
not
a moment there.
I'm not putting you on the spot. I'm like legitimately curious.
No. I know. Oh, hang on.
All right, you're just Fred again.
Yeah, no. I'm gonna have to Google it and find
Yeah,
them
it's
because
cool.
I don't remember what they're off the
Hey,
that's
normal
really
man
fun.
Fred.
as I listen to, and I have no idea who they are, but I will find them and
Okay.
we will have a good laugh.
You're gonna Liam Neeson.
You know, I
that
remember
shit?
chatting about it with someone. Let me see if I can pull those up.
Say,
Yeah, no. Let's talk about something else. We'll have to come back.
I was
to
gonna
this
say
because I don't have
to,
answers right now.
to put a cap on Nicolas Cage.
I wanted to put a cap on Nicolas Cage.
I was gonna say Dan showed me leaving Las Vegas, and
You almost quoted the movie I wanted to bring up, or
And,
you almost said the title.
yeah, I almost did. And then Adaptation. Those are fucking great Nicolas Cage movies.
Yeah, you ever seen Leaving Las Vegas?
No.
No, but I've been to Las Vegas, so I've left Las Vegas, so I saw myself leaving. Las Vegas.
Relatable.
It's Nick Cage. He goes to Las Vegas to drink himself to death, and then he falls in love with a hooker, and it's awesome.
Oh.
There's another one, probably my favorite, Raising Arizona. You guys ever heard of that or seen that?
Nope.
Saw it
It's
and
from
forgot
80,
it.
It's from '87. It's like one of his first movies. I think he was like 23 in it. It's basically like he's in and out of jail, and then he marries one of the fucking the corrections officers, and they steal a baby because the lady can't bear children, and it's pretty. John Goodman's in it, and there's the bad guy in the movie. He's like some biker. He looks like an evil version of John C. Reilly from Step Brothers.
Okay,
Is
I
that
found them.
is that the
found
Wasp
them.
video where he's in there?
I'm not sure. Are you talking about Blind in Texas?
No, you know what? I think it's like Mad Max. It's like
Oh no, I'm not sure.
I know
he
Kyle-
looks like a Mad. He definitely looks like a Mad Max
yeah,
character.
because Kyle used to play like the Wasp songs with it was like AMA or AMV where they would put like a movie to the songs and shit.
Oh yeah, I'm not sure. But yeah, Raising Arizona. Check that out if you haven't seen it. It's a childhood classic of mine, and it still holds up, I think.
But you found it, Fred? What were they?
Yep, I found. So we've got the album by In Your Face. That's spelled INYRFACE, all one word. Hated for What We Are.
Okay.
And the next one is Box Cutter, Pitbull Ways.
Pitbull ways.
Yep. And the last one is Menticide, with the title NME, like the band.
Oh man, there it is.
Yep. So at least 4 covers, including Capricorn.
What was the name of that box cutter album?
Pitbull Ways.
Pitbull Ways.
Pitbull Ways. Okay,
Yep.
Dude, how did this, was this just a stock photo or something? Like,
I guess so.
Yeah, this one is just like the PNG of the dog.
Okay, wait a second. Okay, so, oh man. Okay, so the one link I'm seeing of this for Box Cutter's Pitbull Ways is from a website called livenewmetal.es. So you're telling me, and then I see this is all in Spanish, so it's categorías. Kobe, Box Cutter, crossover, hardcore, rapcore.
Yeah, rap
Man.
metal.
Man, so I wasn't so far off with Alone Against All being my favorite DMX album, man.
No, you really weren't.
I just played a little bit of that box cutter album, and it kind
sorry.
of sounds like the album that we're going to be talking about later.
Man, how long have
no.
we been going without talking about the album that we were supposed to be talking about?
I don't know. We
Oh,
usually
we'll
go
get
about
to
an
that.
hour.
We'll get to that later.
We'll get to
Oh,
that
no, I'm-
eventually.
I'm in no rush.
We're
This is good.
we're
No,
about
no.
an hour in, so
We take a meandering path to get there.
And plus, we got a guest, so we have more time now. I paid for the 4-hour subscription, so we're good to go.
We got
We
to have a
spared no
timestamp.
expense.
Got to have a timestamp in the description. It's like show starts at 2 hours in or something. And it's like,
We don't do that. We make everybody kind of skip through the bullshit. But
We're just-
that's
we're not
part.
gonna make it easy for them.
No, but that's part of the thing. When Paul came to me with this idea, I'm like, I kind of want to talk about just whatever we feel like, and that's how it's been going. And there are no timestamps. Oh, this starts here. No. You're gonna have to figure that out on your own.
Yeah, someone in the comments can put the timestamps.
Damn right.
Yeah, someone in the
Shannon,
comments can kill themselves.
Shannon, get to it.
Yeah, Shannon.
Shannon said hails in the comments.
What? No.
That's it.
Hails, Shannon. We saw you in the Mayet comment section.
But yeah,
Lurking
Fred.
in the wild.
What about
hang on. What was the name of the In Your Face album?
In Your Face is Hated for What We Are, but In Your
Hated for
Face
What
is
We Are,
spelled
okay.
INYRFACE.
Yes. Okay.
Fred, how do you know about these?
I don't remember. Like you heard me in the black metal trivia. I just know shit and I don't know why.
Yeah, but you're like knowing shit about like strange beat down rapcore. It's very interesting.
But I only know that because of Capricornus. This is technically black metal knowledge.
Wait. So, how does Capricornus relate to these like hardcore albums?
Because the album art is the same on all the albums mentioned.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's funny because
On Alone Against All, that's his album cover.
yeah, because I'm looking at the In Your Face one right here, and it's the same Pitbull, but the Doc Martin has been edited out and it's replaced with a skull.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Poorly.
and then the
Yeah,
last
very very poorly.
yeah, and then the last one is like there's nothing else. It's just a PNG of the dog.
I love Pitbull ways. That kills me, man. It's like,
And I think the reason I know this is when the album came out. I remember people on forums mentioning that it was a like just a stock cover that other bands have used. And I think that's how I remember that.
man, stock stock photo black metal.
Royalty free.
True cult royalty free.
Oh, dude, there's a fucking ton of that.
Dragging that cig?
No, pissing in a bottle.
Oh.
Wow, that's detailed.
Well, you asked.
Fred,
How's it going, Paul?
you got anything going on
God
this
damn
week?
Not pissing in bottles.
Yeah, dude, I'm at my. I can piss here. There's nobody here. I'm at my desk in the slop.
If there's nobody there, why even bother with the bottle?
Well, what am I supposed to do? Piss on the floor?
Piss yourself.
Just let flow like the Nile.
Yeah, I piss on Dean's bed here. Oh, that's the dog, by the way, Roman. I'm pissing in a person's bed.
My pillow's so wet.
Is it the dog from Alone Against All?
No,
Is it the Pitbull?
No, it's the dog from Box Cutter.
no, but
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah.
the dog his dog Dean ended up on the Galicia booklet art though.
You can barely see him, but he's in there next to the amp. Yeah, Dean's been itching, man.
Itching.
Itching. I don't know. Maybe he's got fleas. I don't know. I checked him for fleas this morning. I didn't see no fleas.
Sketchy.
But all day long, he's biting himself.
Could be allergies.
Poor son of a bitch.
But yeah, should we start getting into this this album?
Oh, please, no. Yeah, that's fine.
All right, Dan.
All right. Taking a drag of that cigarette, and I'm about to open another beer. And let's see if you guys can never hear outside noises outside of my microphone. See if you can hear this. Did you hear that?
No.
No.
Nope.
No.
That was my bottle opening, but of course you can't hear.
You didn't
can't
give
hear
it much
anything.
time to. You didn't give it much time to breathe, though. Like we couldn't.
Here, like, let
No,
me,
but-
want me to do it again?
It's like here. Tell me if you hear this. Did you hear that? But you didn't.
Get
See
my-
now,
Nah,
Fred's
you
now Fred's judging me here. Now I'm about to go crazy here. Now I'm about to get a little angry. I'm about to yell at Fred, shake my fist here.
Piss
I'm
bottle.
always judging.
Piss bottle Dan.
Yeah, but that doesn't start with a D.
New nickname. Damn it, Dan.
See, Poser Paul, Fruitcake Fred. You gotta have the same letters
Yeah,
here.
you gotta have alliteration. Yeah.
Raging Roman,
Yeah, I'm not that raging, but
Delinquent Dan.
Delinquent,
How about rustic Roman?
Did-
That has a good ring to
rustic.
it.
Ooh, rustic.
Rustic Roman.
Well, I mean, not if you say it like that.
Degenerate Dan.
Why you gotta ruin everything?
Fred. I'm actually sorry, man. I really didn't mean to. I like Paul's degenerate. Am I a degenerate? Is that what this is?
Use the toilet.
Sick freak. All right, should we get into this thing finally?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
Okay,
Well,
let me see if
are
I
we
can
starting,
hit up.
we starting with a track or like what are we?
Well,
what's the
let
plan,
me.
Stan?
The plan is let me look this up on Metal Archives if I can spell it correctly.
Oh my God! You did do your research?
No, I did a little bit of research, not as much as Paul did, I think. All right, here we go. So, we got the band Leukemia from Sweden and their 2012 album Love. And I think I told you, Roman, this came out in 94. Or it was recorded and pretty much done in 94, but it wasn't released until 2012.
No, you didn't mention that actually, or maybe you
Yeah,
did. And
yeah.
I just forgot. But anyways, go on.
I think that makes it slightly more interesting.
Okay, yeah, that changes my view on this album entirely. Actually, well,
Oh,
not
does it
entirely,
really?
But no, it doesn't actually. But but it definitely gives a lot more context to this. That makes it a lot more of an interesting album. I'll tell you that.
Shelved albums are always fun.
Yeah, so I guess
Are they really shelved though?
kind of. I guess other people had heard this album like within the Swedish scene. I guess they had passed it around without a label. Because I was doing a little bit of reading on what had happened with Leukemia. Apparently, after their second album, what is it called? The Gray Flannel Soul. Yeah, in '94, same year as this album. They changed their name. They were supposed to release this album under the name Lame.
Yeah.
And I guess they just didn't go shopping for record labels to release it, and they just kind of left it alone. And then almost, I don't know how many years later, fucking finally got it mastered by Dan Swano. And Dan Swano is kind of, he's kind of a member at this point during this album. He's all over the place doing vocals, and I think he's just doing vocals. I don't think he's doing a lot of guitar work, but you can definitely hear a lot of the Edge of Sanity, and I think to a sense, maybe, Paul, you know Panthymonium.
Yeah.
I definitely hear a bunch of Panthymonium stuff in here, just kind of because of the weirdness and a lot of the like strange samples that they use. Because of this album, like I went back and listened to Gray Flannel Soul.
That was sick.
Yeah, it is. I actually hadn't listened to it in full until this week, kind of just trying to get a feel for what this band was doing. And I don't think that they needed to change their name to Lame, but honestly, this album feels like a straight up continuation of what they were doing on their previous album, in the same year. I think, Roman, did you know who Leukemia was at all before this?
No, not at all. And actually, so I have zero experience in this band, and Dan just kind of asked me to be on here,
Sorry, bud.
like recently, and I'm like, okay, cool. What do we do? What do we do? And like, okay, we're doing this album. So like, I listened to it, and I didn't give it a really thorough listen, to be honest, until like today. And I literally, as I was driving home, it was so weird that I literally, like, I never sent anybody a voice message, but I sent Dan a voice message, and it's just like, this is so freaking weird, man. This is the
Yeah, that's exactly what he said. He said, freaking weird.
It's baffling. This album is baffling on so many levels, and it's man, yeah. I have no familiarity with this band before hearing it at this point. I could go into a deeper analysis of it, but like, yeah, really, it's like the choices are. I don't see the logic. I don't see the logic. It's like, but at the same time, it's like there's all these moments that are like brilliant, and then they're just surrounded by like I don't even know, man. It's like it's like this album's kind of breaking my mind with like I don't get it.
It's almost like
I
they could be
do.
Finnish.
Yeah, like the weird sense. Well, actually, it's not even a weird sense of humor. This is clearly a very angsty album. If you look at the name of, if you look at any of the song titles,
Yeah.
yeah, let's go. Let's
They're
go
not-
through
they're
the
not
song
subtle.
titles right here. Let's see. 1, Emotionally Dead. 2, Murder. 3, Sad. Just sad. That's it.
Sad.
4, I Remain Silent. 5, Roses. 6, Tear Flow. 7, Dehue brackets. Whoa.
Womanize.
Womanize. Dehue Womanize. 8, My Pain. 9, Hurt. 10, Feelings. 11, Regrets.
Yeah, I feel like these album titles are like a fucking sentence and shit. And the funny thing too is like this was released on Valentine's Day.
You
Like-
know what my theory is?
You're not kidding. You're not kidding, man.
You know what my theory is on the song titles? Like, they're so simple, it's almost like they're an afterthought. And my theory is the album was written and recorded in 94, but they didn't actually have song titles, and they just, like, assigned these at the last minute.
That could be true.
And I don't know. I feel like Roman said that this wasn't like a humorous album. They're like kind of angsty, but like even back to their first album, they're like had like funny ass samples throughout and
Yeah,
Funny-
I was actually
US of A!
yeah, I was actually gonna get to that.
Yeah, I nearly
Okay, no.
forgot and yeah.
No, were there any funny samples on this album? I mean, remember, I have only passing familiarity.
No, there
Samples,
actually
no.
there weren't. On the last album there were, and then on the I was gonna say their first album is actually what I was introduced by, the album "Suck My Heaven" in 1993. I feel like guys who went on a deep dive into like Swedish death metal, I think I found that during my deep dive, which is probably like I want to say 2009, 2010, around there, and I think people kind of know this album as the band that used like Fast Times at Ridgemont High samples. They used Fast Times. There was an Animal House sample. There was a yeah. There was that
it's like-
Tom Hanks movie. What was that movie called? The one where he's fixing that. Oh, the Money Pit. So yeah, on Suck My Heaven, you get that part in Animal House where he's like about to fuck that underage chick and she passes out, and he has like a devil and an angel on his shoulders, and the devil goes, fuck her brains out, squeeze her tits, feel her buns, and then the song starts. And I
By the
think
way-
the yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, you said Money Pit, and my Frasier memes kicked into my head, and I just thought of, I all of a sudden just thought of Money Plane.
Money
is-
Plane.
Money Plane, that reference is going over your head?
Yeah, it is. What is that?
Oh, okay. The guy that played Frasier was in a really bad movie called Money Plane that came out.
Dude,
not too
no,
long
I
ago.
don't know. I've never heard of that.
Okay.
Kelsey
okay,
Grammer?
Yes. Kelsey Grammer, yes. Kelsey Grammer was in a really bad movie called Money Plane, which is about a casino that's on an airplane so they can avoid. Yeah, yes. And so he actually says Money Plane in it. So when you said Money Pit, I just thought Money Plane.
Okay, well that's something I'm probably gonna have to look up and watch.
Okay. Yes. Okay.
Yeah,
I
fair.
derailed you. Keep going.
Yeah, I was just gonna say there was it was mostly like Fast Times references. There was another one where it was Spicoli and that black kid, and they're driving around in his brother's car, and then they crash into like a construction site, and he goes, "Man, my brother's gonna shit." He goes, "My brother's gonna kill us, man." He goes, "Well, make up your mind, man. Is he gonna shit or is he gonna kill us?"
Yeah, like
Didn't
this,
actually.
I was gonna say, yeah, this band like just straight up humor through and through. Like even their band photos, like they're like wearing dresses, like kind of just like mocking the fucking like death metal, I guess scene at the time.
Yeah.
The real question is, do they have the Immortal Pride lyric of Crossdresser in it, though?
Probably.
Dresser. I gotta remember that now.
They have a lyric right here, and I nearly forgot. It says, retarded existence, I life full of lives. so, so
yeah. When I look at these song titles from the first couple ones, I'm like, yeah, this has like this off kilter, like you said, almost Finnish sense of humor to it.
yeah.
You know? Like I
Well,
get that.
the band photo inside the booklet of "Suck My Heaven" is one of them is just standing there in a jean jacket cut off at the sleeves. The other guy is shirtless, covered in blood, and they're standing behind a house, and there's a swing set behind them. It's like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, there's
Fucking sickos.
they're saying that the blood was in reference to Dismember.
Dismember, yep.
And then the other guy's just like, he's like kind of like doing a profile, so he's just like just trying to, I don't know, posing cool and shit.
Yeah. You know, when I never got on the Dismember one, notice that it's just 3 members covered in blood, and the 2 are hanging out behind, but there's no blood on them. They're just like, no, you guys do it. We're good.
Yeah, Matty Karki is basically just hiding behind the band.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, complete derail, but this off kilter sense of humor is just reminding me of when Gorefest covered Autobahn by Kraftwerk. Are you guys familiar with that?
I think I am. That I don't know why that reminds me of
basically,
something
like,
else.
you know, they kind of got this video where they're playing like on an overpass on a highway, and it's just like they're just like, Autobahn, and then they just start screaming like, Autobahn. It's like, it sounds nothing like the actual song, but it's like, it's man, early '90s death metal, like it had this great sense of humor to it, man.
Yep.
Hey, I guess that kind of reminds me of fucking Pungent Stench. Where were they from? Austria. They did they did a cover of a band called Warning. I think I might have showed Paul that song. Why Do the Bodies Fly? Those guys look like they're dressed like fucking Darth Vader,
Yeah.
but it's like this strange. It's like this strange kind of new wave music, but with a fucking pitch shifter.
Yeah.
Very bizarre stuff, and I guess that would make sense for a band like Pungent Stench.
Yeah, they revel in the bizarre.
But yeah,
Like,
as
right from the beginning, they've always been bizarre.
yeah, but as love comes around, I mean, I guess people did listen to this, but it officially didn't come out on physical release until 2012, and I don't think I heard it until about 2015 or 16, and when I heard it, I don't know, I had it for whatever reason, even hearing like the more comical shit from Suck My Heaven, I kind of had a high expectation, and I feel like this really kind of it blew my expectations away. You know, in general, it's just so fucking bizarre. Even from the very beginning of the album, you get like the dialing phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
you get that, like, you know.
Well, let's get into the first song then.
Okay. The first song, it's going to be a little bit of a different one just because I'm starting kind of in the middle of the album. So this song is the almost instrumental track. And we'll get into it a little bit more. But yeah, Roses. We got Roses.
All right, we'll be right back.
I'll always hear that once you make me open up your eyes.
All right,
I mean,
we're back.
he recorded the fucking thing.
And Dan was just talking about Dan Swano, producing this, and Fred mentioning that seems like he had a heavy hand in especially with the keyboards.
Yeah, the keyboards at the end.
I feel like Dan Swano is basically a member of the band on this album.
Yeah, he didn't.
'Cause
he didn't play anything, but he was like, hey, you know what you guys should do?
Yeah, I mean, this wasn't even supposed to be a Leukemia album. They just slapped that name on there because they kind of had a little bit of clout already. This was supposed to be under Lame. This was this didn't go anywhere. I don't know if this would have went anywhere at the time if it came out. But yeah, let's get into a little bit of what this song means. What do you think? There's no lyrics available, but you can kind of basically hear all the lyrics that are being sang here.
You can hear the breakup.
That's what I thought. I thought Roses is probably a breakup song, or maybe losing a love. I don't know. Did they give roses at funerals? Probably. I don't know.
I don't know. I'll still die on the hill of this. Each song title being a part of the concept of the album. Like, emotionally dead, murder someone. He's sad about it. He's quiet. Roses at a graveyard. He's crying. Dewomanized. He probably killed a girl, and he has pain.
I was
thinking
he cheated on a girl. That's what I was thinking.
I like how you just threw that in there so that he killed the girl. He's crying. He's at a funeral. He killed the girl.
It's like you get sad.
By the by,
it's kind of like that Dismember song, "Skin Her Alive," where he's talking about. I think one of the members of the band, his neighbor, killed his wife, and that's what the song is about. Skin Her Alive.
Oh,
because she was a whore or something like that.
That's one that caused him a lot of problems.
The deep lore.
Mm-hmm. Did you know that Dismember had to go to court because of their lyrics, because of that song? And the judge had to sit there and listen to the entire Dismember album and read the lyrics, and they all sat there in the courtroom.
Listening to Dismember?
Yes!
Nodding.
Yeah,
Yep.
Played it backwards for subliminal messages.
That's not a Burzum album.
But yeah, to me, when I listening last night, I kind of came to the realization that maybe this is a kind of breakup song, and the beginning starts off very somber. The entire song is pretty much doomy.
Yeah.
But yeah, you get that really sad, despairing kind of intro, and then you get more sad despair, and then you kind of get a gradual peak into like fucking just anger, and that's where you get the like whole breakdown with Dan Swano like doing his death metal vocals and a solo, and I can imagine you're like throwing stuff around the house, and then it kind of goes back to that second melodic part, and that's where you're sitting in your room like in your underwear just kind of contemplating things, and then things kind of pick up, and then by the very end of the song you kind of see the light and you're okay with it. And musically by that time, once it finally picks up into a faster beat, you get something that's like a disco track, or something that's honestly, it reminded me of the claps. You get something that's like a new wave. It goes boom ding boom ding boom ding boom ding doom ding doom ding doom ding doom ding doom ding doom ding. And that reminds me of Blue Monday from New Order, or it reminds me of like stuff Erasure would do, maybe from A Little Respect. And then finally, yeah, you get that giant that giant melody that feels like it couldn't end, but it does very quickly. And also, yeah, you get the claps, you
Couldn't
get
hear
that
those,
kind of stuff.
but
Yeah,
I'll
well, I
do it
was
for you.
clapping. I love that. I
That's
love
what it
that.
sounds like.
I love that clapping part. I love that new wave part. And honestly, this song, even though it's in the middle and it's kind of a weird one for this album, it's basically an instrumental.
Well, there's like
It definitely feels like an interlude.
there's like 3 songs that are like this. It's Sad, Roses, and then one more. I think it may be like Hurt or something. I don't remember. But
Yeah,
songs that are like this.
to get to the guitar playing a little bit, I feel like these guys really are like, I don't know. This song especially feels like they're just extremely competent in what they're doing, and this song is as far as interludes go, this one just fucking takes the cake, dude. They fucking they wrote it the way it should be.
I was reading in like interviews, because the guitarist and vocalist used to play drums, I believe, on Suck My Heaven, and he said that he kind of got bored with it and and decided to pick up the guitar and opted for drum programming. And one of the interviews, I think I translated it from Swedish, and it was saying that what's it called? It was like, oh, why do you drop the drums? Like, you got like an Asian guy playing drums now. And he's like, yeah, I just got bored and guitar's more fun. He's able to, I guess, express himself more instead of, just playing beats and shit.
Hey, Dan,
So this was a drum machine, right?
Yeah, and they were doing a drum machine on the second album too. the
Yeah,
one right
they
before it.
were.
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
gonna hear some fake claps on the on the next Galicia album.
Hope so.
Maybe you'll hear some fake claps in the future. Probably not on Galicia. I don't know that Galicia
At least you don't fuck around.
I don't think Galicia requires claps. Maybe in the future we can do some. See, Paul, this is what Necrotic Mess could have been
Yeah,
if it was produced right. Gosh darn it.
yeah.
I think we even added claps. I think we straight up added claps in a song.
We had a claps,
because of this.
we had the samples, everything.
Yeah, this album was like actually kind of influential to me. But we haven't really gotten to any of the metalcore stuff yet because that hasn't happened. We're basically on a Doom track. But Fred, Roman, what do you guys make of this track here? Do you like it? Do you hate it?
Go for it.
Okay, you know what? Like, well, I guess we'll go for my whole analysis of the album, a little bit later. But this track, hey man, it's got some good melodies and some good progression right there. So I can, there's definitely some good stuff going on here. And I will say that, while we were listening to it, it's funny because this totally just makes me think of like early to mid period Dark Tranquility. And it totally just reminded me of the immediate thought I had was I was thinking of the song Leith from the Gallery, which is, this actually predates it by about a year if it was recorded at the time it was. Hey, these guys know how to write some riffs, that's for sure. And this song is a lot less disjointed than a lot of the rest of the album. The rest of the album is a little bit different right there.
Well, we'll get into it in a bit, but the next track I think is kind of geniusly wrote, all the riffs and all the parts. But
Freddie?
Yeah.
So this will sound harsher than it's meant to, but
Go ahead.
My impression of the song is kind of meh. It's not bad, but it feels like a means to an end, like an interlude that I mentioned before. It's like it feels like filler almost, and that doesn't mean it's necessarily bad. Like I mentioned, the riffing, especially at the beginning, reminds me of very early My Dying Bride, Anathema, Paradise Lost, that sort of more gothic approach to Death Doom. And I see what you're saying with the story of the song, but it's not a particularly active song, and I think that they do better on the album, on other tracks on the album. So it's not a bad song, but it's not. It feels like it's kind of just there.
Yeah, like I said, I picked songs that I like, and I feel like I picked songs that were kind of eccentricities, and this is definitely
so the problem is you.
Yes, that's right. I do feel like I picked the songs that are eccentricities, but as it goes, this song really did kind of flow really nicely, and all the riffs kind of, I don't know, they bled into each other nicely. Just I say bleed because true. Like they seem to use the industrial metal version of how they change everything. Like the drums kind of make everything feel like everything's like chopped and cut and pasted, and I don't feel like that's such a bad thing, especially for something like this, because it does kind of feel industrial. It almost feels like a Godflesh sort of album in certain places.
Dude, yeah, that was one of the bands
pops up on the album quite a bit.
Yeah, well, definitely.
There's at least one part I can think of that actually does sound a fair bit like Street Cleaner.
Yeah,
and I was actually initially going to comment like I actually don't really like industrial except for Godflesh, and and they managed to nail it on at least one song, so I'll give them that.
There was a couple other bands that did the Godflesh sound. Do you know Skin Chamber?
No, never heard them.
Yeah.
There was Skin Chamber, there was Halo, there was Soulstorm. Pitch Shifter, yeah. I think all those are basically the
clones.
mandatory industrial. Let's just call it industrial death metal.
Soulstorm were from Toronto, weren't they?
Yeah, I've heard of Pitch Shifter.
Even the early Fear Factory album too.
Oh yeah, the very first one. Yeah, that's I remember that. I wasn't a huge fan of that one, but I was never really into Fear Factory generally. So,
what about Red Harvest? What do you guys think of Red Harvest?
The what now?
I don't know Red Harvest.
That's a name that again I always.
Well, that's a dead end, isn't it?
Well, I mean, I'm sorry. I could pretend to know who that is, but I just don't know who that is.
Yeah, they're great, Fred.
I could say, oh yeah, fucking. Cool. I could say, oh yeah, fucking sick, dude. I'll say, oh yeah, fucking sick if it's a band that I, maybe don't really recall, but I at least know the name. But I try my best not to pretend to know a band on this show.
Oh, Fred, they started off thrash when industrial electronic metal from Norway. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I kind of like them. There we go.
What's a good album by them? It looks like they're from '92 and
Cold Dark Matter, for something that's relevant. Like the thrash stuff is okay. Cold Dark Matter is when they started. Well, I don't know if that's when they started going like particularly industrial, but there's some shit on there that's heavy as hell.
Yeah, the turn of the century, huh?
Yep.
I wanted to bring up something from the second album. I feel like these guys had a lot of these like shouting moments that kind of remained memorable. So on this album, we'll get into this later. But on the second album, they have a line. It says, or on the first album, they have a line that says "I love you." Remember that on Into the Morgue? I love you. Yep. And then he says it again, but his voice cracks. He goes, I love you. And on the second album, they have one that says "I hate your face." I hate your face.
Yeah.
And
And
also
there's
on the second album, they have a lyric that says, "You fucking suck, you fuck."
Yeah.
And then on this album, well, we have at least that one line.
And then we got Severus Snape fucking whispering.
I'll never live.
The vocals
I'll
are weird
never
on this.
die. You'll never feel. I'll never cry. This is Alan Rickman. Don't forget that turtle joke for the party.
You know, whenever I listen to this or like the Peaceful 3, whenever they have those, you know, sad goth vocals, that's all people think of now. Severus Snape.
Why don't you kill yourself?
There we go. There we go.
We haven't even got into the vocals because they haven't happened yet. So I think
No.
we might just have to get into the second track. This is kind of just an introduction, and you know, we're kind of starting in the middle, which is fine, because I feel like the next two tracks that I picked kind of encapsulate everything that this album does, but in the best way.
All
So-
right, let's get into the next one.
All right, next one is going to be Dehumanize or Dewomanize.
Dewomanize. Okay, hang on a second.
All right, we'll be right back.
right, Roman. Now you got to talk about Dysentery,
And-
because that was something I thought of too.
Wait,
So
Roman,
so yeah.
you were real quiet
Wait,
during that
fuck!
sample.
I forgot to say that the first track sucked.
Yeah, so all
Well,
I'll say
that one
about
sucked.
is-
This one ruled.
Fuck.
So it's funny. Yeah, as soon as that came on, I was just thinking, man, this just sounds like melodic death metal plus RAC. It was like, man. And then it's like over time, like you hear like they have this thing where they have like the hanging chords with like the very specific kind of soloing. It sounds straight off Desultory's Into Eternity for sure. There were probably a few riffs in there that yes, I went really quiet during. Yes, but.
Was it the riff that went? Was it that riff?
Oh, there was some really cool stuff in this song, though. I will say that, 100%. I was definitely enjoying it. And, yeah, it's not often that you get a band that sounds well. I guess no, it's not often you get a band that sounds that much like Desultory, anyways.
No, I thought the exact same thing, but I was thinking of a different album. I was thinking of the Bitterness album from Dysentery.
That's probably generally for the feel of this album. That's actually even more accurate on a certain level.
Well,
But-
emo death metal. You got the emotional
emo
death metal.
exactly, right. But it still totally just sounded like Into Eternity at that point for me, anyways. But you're right. Bitterness definitely is a better parallel for the feel of this album. Generally, I would definitely agree on that.
And maybe the vocals kind of reminisce Bitterness a little bit too, just because Leukemia always had the like
the hardcore
half growl
shout
thing,
vocal.
yeah, hardcore shout vocal, Dismember kind of shout vocal going on. But that's what Dysentery did on their second album, because they didn't sound like that in the beginning. They sounded more like a straight up death metal band.
Yeah, they definitely had the hardcore vocals on the second one.
Yeah, here you get like a half growl. Not even a half growl. Here you get like a shout thing, and you get two of them. You get, I think the main two guys of the band are both doing vocals. And one is a little bit more death metal. One is a little bit more, I don't even want to call it hardcore, because it's not. It's just shouted.
Yeah.
Forgive me! Forgive me! I don't know, man. There's something about these vocals and this song in particular. This is the one that drew me in originally.
Yeah, this is the one
You-
you would always play.
Yeah. This is the one you can play at a party. This is the one that someone will maybe look up and go, hey, who is this, brother?
It's the hit single.
It is the hit single. I feel like that intro riff is one that you'll be humming forever. Boom, ba bam, down, down, do, down, down, da, 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 do. It's a great fucking riff. And then it kind of goes into the, like, kind of something Edge of Sanity would do, the down, 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 down. And they keep bringing those things back within the solo. And they have, like, the kind of the drum fill solo thing going on during the solo, where it's like, and then you keep going, and then you go back into the first riff, and then you get the heavy Dan Swano riff again.
Yeah, they
And
have
we were
a
also
lot of
we
sick
were also saying
transitions.
The transition from the dual guitar part into the tremolo picked version of that was really cool right there. I really like that one. That was perfect.
You know, I felt like all you guys would probably have problems with this album, and I do too. But I feel like the points where it really kind of is like mastered and shined is it kind of outweighs any of the bullshit.
And I got 99 problems, but leukemia ain't one, bro.
Well, I'll tell you this straight up. I mean,
The band,
if I didn't have to listen to this album, I probably would have shut it off in the first 6 seconds, because it's just completely not what I'm into. But I kept listening to it, and like, okay, well, there's actually something going on here. Like, there's some really good ideas being put at play here. But my initial very visceral reaction to it, if based off the first song, I probably would have like shut it off in the first like 6 to 10 seconds and just been like, yeah, I'm not listening to that.
Yeah.
Okay. So what we get with this song too, we also get the dreaded metalcore breakdown. You guys all noticed that, didn't you?
From 94?
The double breakdown.
dun 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 dun. Yeah, and then you get another one. I thought that was kind of geniusly placed. You know, back in the day when I was kind of just listening to thrash and like old death metal and stuff, something like this would have turned me off. But there's something about the fact that this comes out in '94, the fact that this is a classic Swedish death metal band. I'm kind of a little bit more open to metal, like real metal bands doing things like this, bands that actually know what's up. I remember the band from Sri Lanka, Genocide Shrines. That was maybe one of the first instances that I heard something that could have been considered a metalcore breakdown in an actual, like in a war metal song. And I think that kind of I think that kind of opened things up to me, where I think the guys from Terminus even talked about this, where bands are afraid to do breakdowns anymore. And I think Into Oblivion
either they're
actually
afraid
did
or they don't know
breakdowns
how
too.
to do it properly.
Okay, well, you'd have to timestamp the breakdown for me. I'd have.
It's in Serpentine Ascension, and they sampled it.
Okay.
I know that.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. You might be talking about during the instrumental. You might be talking about Shattering Ascent. There's like a slow, chuggy riff we have in there.
It's okay to break down, dude. We don't have to be afraid anymore. The age of deathcore and metalcore is over. We can be ourselves again.
It's heavy, man.
It's heavy. We can do it, and I feel like this band does it correctly.
So were people even doing like was metalcore doing breakdowns in 1994?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
Like, because before that,
No.
there was like this like slam from like thrash and
Yeah.
early slam bands, but they didn't. It wasn't this rhythmic. And I think after that, it was like what Meshuggah and like groove metal that was like sort of coming up on this.
I did a slight amount of research on melodic metalcore. Well, stuff that would come out after Slaughter of the Soul, but this predates Slaughter of the Soul.
Yeah.
This is at least a year before.
Oh,
So if you guys know I tried to list some bands that are decent. Undying, do you know who that is from '94?
not ringing a bell.
They're a metalcore band. Okay, so there was a thing in like the late '90s where bands like the Black Dahlia Murder, when they were just getting started, all their stuff was basically influenced by Dark Tranquillity and At the Gates and just basically Swedish melodic death metal. So you get bands like
I used to love
Undying.
that stuff.
Yeah, you get a band called Zao from '95. You get a band called Yaaarrrgh, Outcast, or Overcast.
Wait,
from
Shai
'96.
Wait,
Yes,
you mean Shai
yes.
Hulud? Yeah, dude,
Yeah,
I
that's what
saw
I mean.
Shai Hulud live with Andre, like the vocalist in Into Oblivion. We went to go see them back like when we were in high school. That's I used to love Shai Hulud, man.
Yeah, just doing a little research on like what bands were doing these kind of things,
Yeah.
and I tried to pick ones that weren't so offensive. And I don't think anything in the late '90s was so offensive. I don't think it started getting offensive until like bands like All That Remains or Killswitch Engage started doing things like that, or As I Lay Dying or something like that. I think that's when people started to kind of shun that kind of stuff, because I was there too. You know, I was like a thrash kid back in those days, and even then I knew that like metalcore, that sort of metalcore was just not fitting the bill, I guess.
Yep.
Yeah, crapcore.
But yeah, I mean, this only slightly predates Slaughter of the Soul, and maybe this only slightly predates some of those other bands. Motionless in White. There you go. There's another one. I don't even know how old that band is.
Well, I'll tell you, one of my immediate reactions upon listening to some of the parts in this album was like it made me think Slaughter of the Soul, sure, but actually probably even more properly Terminal Spirit Disease. I think it makes me think of that, because Terminal Spirit Disease was basically always what Slaughter of the Soul should have been.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people like kind of forget that album in like, because you know it's obviously in between, you know, the early At the Gate stuff and, you know, what they've become now. So it's just kind of like one of those, I don't know, underappreciated albums. But I always liked it.
Yeah, it's like what they did on Slaughter, but it's got a better sense of melody. It's not as one dimensional in its approach. Slaughter of the Soul can be like, you listen to the title track and you basically know what the whole album is like.
Mm-hmm.
I think listening to their second album prior to this kind of puts a little bit of perspective into it, because I think that this is more a prog metal album rather than it's anything else. I mean, there's
Yeah.
influences from other things, but I think that's kind of a big part of it. I don't know if I mentioned this earlier when we were introducing the album, but these guys were originally, I never thought of them as a thrash band, but these guys were marketed as thrash with death metal influence. And I don't know if that still pertains to what they were doing on this album.
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
Because even it sounded more not like thrash, but more of like death metal with hardcore vocals.
Well, that's what I'm kind of thinking. Like there's a lot of breakdown parts on this album. I'm thinking that a lot of the breakdown parts are actually probably coming from thrash rather than anything else. I mean, metalcore isn't a thing at the time. And what other bands are really doing breakdowns like this in '94? I mean, you were talking, Paul, you were talking about early breakdowns. I think on the last episode, you were talking about Uncle Slam and INC and
Yeah, but those are
Slam.
different.
Ripping Corpse.
But those
Yeah,
are like
those
yeah,
I know
different.
Uncle Slam. I laughed too last time.
Yeah.
But those are
Well,
different.
I
Seriously,
remember that name.
They have some chuggy shit.
Dude, I remember that name. I guess like 1994. I mean, lest we bring this up, but like groove metal was a thing already by this point, and like
Yeah.
Machine Head had done Burn My Eyes in 1994, but
Yeah.
I guess Pantera had already done. Yeah, Pantera had done a few albums by this point, so there is that. So that's a possible thing too.
That's funny that you bring up fucking Machine Head, because I was actually thinking like their first album actually sounds a lot like Violence, or let's just say late '80s, early '90s thrash. So like Violence, which is the same guys from fucking Machine Head. What the fuck was the other band? Violence and Gamicide from Texas. If you ever heard that.
Oh yeah.
The Chemical
Gamicide is one of
Imbalance.
those-
Right.
Yeah, Gamicide is one of those early '90s like extreme thrash bands where it's like it's thrash, but it's got some blast beats in it.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm sure Fred has heard that thing. If you haven't, that's what their first album sounds like. It sounds like Gamicide. It sounds like Violence. It sounds like I was showing this band to Paul like a few weeks ago. Archaic Taurus. I don't know if you remember who that is,
No.
but they're basically like a thrash band, but their vocals are a little bit too extreme for what they're going for. And maybe Mesro from Sweden. I mean, I don't exactly know a whole shit ton of thrash bands from Sweden. I'm thinking Mesro is probably a big part of it, and one that I can just remember, a band called Gravity. I think they might have had a demo or two back in the '90s. But yeah, I really do think a lot of the breakdown parts are coming from thrash rather than from anything else. I mean, they're really, we can say that, oh, this is shitty gent deathcore breakdowns, but there's not a whole lot of that stuff coming around at this time. If you guys can think of any and school me and piss my face, then go
The
ahead.
only ones that are coming up are connected, which is like Fudge Tunnel and Nail Bomb, kind of more industrial leaning, but also kind of like groove, oriented music, especially with the riffing. But again, I don't really hear like the gent type of like Meshuggah breakdowns, because I think at that point Meshuggah was still a thrash band.
Yeah.
Maybe
I would agree
Invocator's
with
second
that.
album, Wave of the Apocalypse from '93, that had a lot more groove to it than I would have expected to hear at that point. It's too bad because the first album was so good.
There was just something I wanted to bring up, that another one of their samples from the first album. This is during the song. This is not a intro or an outro, but it's during a song where it's Arnold going, "It's not the tumor.
It's not the tuba.
It's not the tumor."
But Fred, what'd you think of that song?
This one felt like a more complete song to me than Rose's. Vocals are on point. Like Dan said, that opening riff is just killer. It sounds like just Swedish death metal crashed into absurd, and it's no, it progresses well. This song overall is much more up my alley. That was a good one. I still don't think it's quite as interesting as some of the other tracks on there. Like I said, I think it's called Remain Silent. That is my favorite track on this album. There's so much going on in that song. But this one's no slouch. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, and a reason I wanted to bring up like the progressive metal thing here is because on the second album, they do these things very, very quickly, very subtly. You don't even notice them. On the second album, there's like a part that straight up sounds like Necrophages, way before they're doing. Well, maybe not way before. At least 1 year before they're doing something that they're doing. And on this album, they have kind of a decapitated vibe. Just for a second, you'll hear this very subtly. They'll have kind of extremely technical fucking I don't even know what to call it, scale riffs or something.
Yeah, you're talking about like these kind of, if we're comparing it at least to Necrophagist, and I think Decapitated did a bit of this. They did these runs that were like all diminished scales. And they do it very quickly. They do it in a way that you almost don't even notice it. Yeah, no, I picked up on that. They definitely have some super techie moments on this album for sure. I think more than like progressive or technical. I mean, it's funny. This is almost like this album's kind of like almost like a perfect time capsule. Almost a stereotype of what I'd show people of like early '90s avant-garde death metal. Like it's like that kind of stuff. It's like these guys like
they've kind of captured it all with the avant-garde label here, haven't they? And that's what's so funny about it. It's like this was supposed to have come out in '94, but it came out in 2012 when nobody gave a shit, and you didn't listen to it. And Fred, I don't think you had listened to this album before. And no, Paul, I think you only listened to it because I showed it to you. This album really didn't blow up, and I feel like it kind of should have. Maybe I'm wrong there.
If it came out in 1994, I think this album would be looked at very differently.
Do you think it would be some sort of metalcore precursor, or some kind of like Edge of Sanity worship kind of thing? Because I definitely hear a lot of Edge of Sanity in here.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, I think people would look at it. I think A, it would be more well known, and B, people would look at it as like this, like, oh man, this is so innovative and ahead of its time and all that kind of stuff. Like you'd probably hear a lot of those comments. Like
it's definitely forward thinking, I think.
Yeah, and it would have gotten a lot more recognition for that if it came out in 1994.
Start taking another drag of that cigarette.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Paul, should we just go ahead and do the next sample?
Sure.
Okay. So what the fuck is the next sample? Again, I kind of picked these samples in like in basis of like eccentricities. I didn't know which one to pick for the last sample, but I went with Regrets just because it has the Dan Swano vocals going over the thrash beat, and there's some interesting stuff there with some of the breakdowns and some of the heavier parts. But yeah, let's see what we got here. This is Leukemia's Regrets.
All right, we'll be right back.
Let's go!
back from that.
That's fucking weird.
The only thing I regret is not playing this earlier.
The only thing I regret. The only thing I regret is being influenced by Pantera.
It's not killing you earlier.
Are you talking to me?
I can't believe it. They literally just jacked the riff from Walk. It's like
Was that really 1992?
Yeah.
yeah, they beat it by 2 years, man. I guarantee you, if you interviewed these guys, they'd be like, "Yeah, we listen to Pantera."
So
No, I'm totally sure that
Leukemia
they
did it
did. I
better.
mean,
well, all the
these are thrash guys.
I was
Yeah,
gonna say all the bands were getting influenced by like grunge at the time, especially in like Finland. So it seems like this band was just influenced by the other thing going on, which was groove metal.
Yeah, that's very clearly what's going on right here. Yeah, and then they're just like straight up parts. They're like, "Yep, that's just a power metal part right there." And then we have Dan Swano's very soft, gentle harmonies.
Yeah, what a
So
honor!
many secrets and so many lies.
what an honor to have those vocals on this track.
I was saying
influence is all over this. That power metal part is pure Manowar, and we all know that Edge of Sanity covered Manowar on their albums, so I think that was his doing too.
Yeah, he's like
Him whispering into the ear, "Hey, you know what you guys should do?
he's like, you know what? I'm not gonna put
This
this.
little power metal riff verse right here.
I'm not gonna put this under.
It's like the Bob
Pandemonium.
Ross of death metal.
The Bob Ross of death.
Just a happy.
Let's put a little Swano
power
right
metal
here.
riff right here. Yeah. There's no mistakes, just happy accents.
I didn't mention it earlier, but I feel like maybe not influenced by, or maybe not even influential, but Accent Stars stuff. That's what that whole part reminded me of. That entire like power metal Dan Swano section, where it's just power chords with his vocals with the thrash beat. Because I mean that's basically what European power metal is going into the 2000s. If we're talking about like Rhapsody and Accent Star and probably Sonata Arctica too. Yeah.
Man.
This band had it all.
I think they kind of.
Did they?
I think so.
They're reaching for it.
Seems like everybody didn't exactly enjoy this. Didn't seem like everybody enjoyed this album as much as I did. But I thought it was pretty great.
Well, hey, listen. One thing I'll definitely give this is that it was it was better than I was expecting it to be when I first started listening to it.
There's a lot of changes there.
Yeah. There's a lot of like really great and good and cool ideas that pop up throughout this, So it's like it's definitely it's at the very least a very interesting listen all the way through. I can give it that 100%.
Yeah.
Well, I think the idea is everybody going to like this? I think I feel like this is kind of the perfect album for this show, just because it is so strange and so weird, and nobody's ever really talked about it.
Oh, 100%.
I think that. Yeah, I found value in it, and I think that I don't know. I don't even know. I'm drinking, so I don't know anything. I was trying to make a point, but maybe I'll make it later.
I'll get around to it
In the next episode.
No, but this definitely like Dan Swano's like, you know what? I'm not gonna put this in Pandemonium, my experimental band. I'm not gonna put this in Edge of Sanity, my main band. So let's do it.
Let's give it to Lame, the band called Lame. They were lame at the time. This band was lame. This band was not even Leukemia at the time. They weren't going off of their legacy as Leukemia. They were starting off as a brand new band. And if this was a debut album as far as like experimentation goes, I think it works. And as far as a Lost album goes, I think it works too.
It's funny because like in some interviews they were saying like, "Oh, why don't you guys play live?" He's like, "We fucking suck. Like no one's gonna want to see that shit." And all the interviews
that's actually surprising because they do a really good job on this album. I felt like all the riffs, they were just terrific.
the weird thing was, it's like these like this is definitely, I don't see this as a like rehearsed songs. It's kind of like giving that like that pandemonium rehearsal
Yeah, weird. Yeah, rehearsal,
or
like kind of
recording.
stop start. Yeah, stop starting kind of recording.
Yeah, it's
feel
like,
to it,
oh,
right?
let's do this here. Let's go there. It's kind of like a album written in the studio rather than like you know, oh, we got these songs, let's put them together.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
definitely feels like written in the studio. It doesn't. It does not feel like a full band wrote these songs and rehearsed them. It doesn't feel like that at all.
Disjointed leftovers from previous writing sessions.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
but
like I got all
somehow
these
I
riffs.
still like it.
Yeah, I mean, like this, it's not a bad album. I think its biggest problem is that it is disjointed. It doesn't really flow very well. But
I think a lot of this like the second album, it had like 3 points to it. It was like these really like at the gates core riffs, and then it had like these emotive like lead melodies, and then it would go into like more, I think it would just ask you to just bounce in between those two ideas, but here it was like you can actually see where they were trying to go with that, because like on Suck My Heaven and Ending I Love, like it's completely different bands.
Well, Suck My Heaven, I mean, they had parts that sounded like straight up heavy metal, I think as a joke.
yeah,
And then on the next album, they had parts that sounded like they could be black metal, even though it's a kind of strange metalcore album.
And then they got
I
this.
guess this. I guess well, I guess this is kind of the same thing. This is kind of a strange metalcore album, not in the way that you would think, like metalcore of the time. But I again, I don't think that the breakdown parts are even coming from metalcore. I think a lot of that is coming from thrash, and kind of
It's
bringing
coming from
that.
Pantera, man.
Yeah. Well, that's basically thrash.
Post-thrash.
I think coming in from that and coming into kind of a lot of the industrial ideas that come out on this album, and also like Gothenburg, for me it works, and for me it's I don't know, sort of a timeless album that comes out. It's a timeless album that comes out way later. It's very strange in that way.
Yeah.
It could very well have been from 2012, and if it was, then I would really love this album. But the fact that it comes from '94, it makes me like it even more, I think.
Yeah, 94, it's avant-garde. 2012, it's avant-garde. Whenever you release this, it's gonna be leagues beyond what's going on, you know?
Well, yeah. Well, like Fred said, it's totally disjointed. But I think that helps it as far as an industrial metal album goes. And I think this kind of is an industrial progressive metal album.
Yeah, I think that's a very accurate description of the whole thing, for sure.
that's why it kind of reminded me of Carbonized's second album in parts.
Huh?
Oh well,
It-
listen.
In sections.
in sections, not overall, but it was,
Yeah, for sure.
that's a great, like, just weird album right there, man.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah, disharmonization. man.
Episode 13.
sure is.
Right. Yeah. You guys did cover that. That's right.
Yeah. Well, if that's one of our favorites, then of course this was eventually going to be something in one of my favorites, and yeah, I really did have a feeling you guys were going to be too keen on it, but that's okay. That's totally fine. I mean, that's part of the show.
And Daniel, did you know that the lead member of this band was in House of Usher? I heard you mention them before.
Yeah. He was in House of Usher. He was in a band called The Project Hate. He was in actually quite a few things. But yeah. These guys are totally rooted in old underground Swedish death metal, and I feel like this kind of encapsulates everything. Even though it has, I mean, what do you think, Paul? What are your big? I want to hear from you guys of like what are the problems with this album without any kind of generalizations or just kind of being straightforward.
Honestly, like, I didn't. The only like throwaway
'Cause
track.
if anybody would like this out of all of you guys, it would be you, Paul.
Yeah, like the only throwaway track I have is probably Tear Flow. The rest I like thoroughly enjoyed and it had my attention the whole way. It's not like something I necessarily like every part that they're doing, but you know at least they're doing it, and
And it's at least keeping your attention.
yeah, and it's like Roman said, like when it shines, it's blinding.
Yeah, there's definitely genius moments. I think that the second song, "Dehumanized," for me is kind of a perfect metal song within like structure wise and riff wise. I think it's just terrific.
Yeah,
I think besides "Regret" that we played last, "Roses" is terrific.
I love Murder.
I like the first song, "Emotionally Dead," and what Fred said, "I Remain Silent."
Yeah.
I like those two. I just didn't know if they would fit in a sample for me, I guess.
Yeah, because they're doing a bunch of different things on each song, and they kind of have like the same tools that they're working with, but it seems like they ventured a little bit further in the songs that you picked.
Mm-hmm.
But like "Sad" was like a fucking dance track.
That was great. I
Yeah.
fucking love that so much.
But yeah, it's some
I love the new wave kind of feel to that.
and for some reason like "Tear Flow" was kind of one that just kind of I was like, oh, when's the next song? Because it's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
you hit the middle of the album and you're like, oh, but then
Yeah,
the
exactly.
next song after the "Dehumanize" comes on and it brings back your attention. But I think that may just be from me remembering you playing this all the time. So
Yep.
I always liked it, and I think the lore behind it too, being like a lost album, being produced by Dan Swano, gives it a little bit higher esteem for me at least.
All right. Well,
I think it was still a
Yeah.
lot more than just produced by Swano. I think his suggestions were all over this.
He's like in a
yeah,
Rick Rubin way.
I'm sure it was.
Yeah, produced in the Rick Rubin way.
But yeah, Fred and Roman. What are some of your drawbacks here?
Drawbacks?
'Cause there definitely has to be. just the way we've been talking about it.
I think that's just how disjointed it is. I feel like there's a little flow to the album, but if you play any given track on this album to me, I'm still going to like it. Like I like this album. I just wouldn't rank it near the top of anything that came out of Sweden in that era. That's all.
Damn.
Although in fairness, I've never been the biggest Leukemia fan. I have their first album and I have their Innocence is Bliss demo. Innocence is probably my favorite because it's the closest to just typical Swedish death metal. When it goes to Suck My Heaven, even though some of the tracks from the demo are on there, they took a bit more of a hardcore approach to the vocals, which I don't like as much. And the production on the album is really weird too. So, I mean, given that I'm not the biggest Leukemia fan to begin with, yeah, I like it. If you play any given song on the album to me, I'll still enjoy it. I wouldn't turn it off, but I'm not ranking it in a top 10 anytime soon, that's all. And sometimes it's just that way, right? Like, you don't have to love an album. Sometimes you just like it.
So top 10 worst album. It's not in there either.
No. It's a solid middle of the pack.
I think in that Ignorance is Bliss album, they also had a fucking, what is it called? Fast Times fucking sample where he goes, "I'm in love," and then the song starts.
Roman.
I think that was
Yeah,
on,
I guess I would say the same thing that I was saying from the beginning, and it was just said, which is just that. Yeah, it's very disjointed. It's very all over the place. At the same time, what I will say, it's like, it's definitely just like, it's a fun and it's a funny album to listen to. Like I think I can even enjoy it on that perspective, and then every once in a while it has like a moment that's like really good with the riffs.
Dehumanize.
Yeah, it's just it's just definitely.
I'm influencing you here through just talking through this microphone.
So like, yeah, it's definitely not my style. I think as in terms of songwriting, it could be a lot more coherent. But there is some cool stuff that happens here, and it is worth a listen. It is worth a listen if for nothing else than just like how weird and bizarre it is. It's like, I guess yeah, the main drawbacks will just always go back to it being fairly disjointed. That's really what it's going to be, and then the aesthetic is just generally not to my liking. As you noticed, I was very quiet during one of those riffs right there. So yeah, that's a quick summary of my feel on this album, generally speaking. But let's put it this way: I'll double down on this. I enjoyed it more than I thought I would when I started listening to it.
Legit.
All right.
We're gonna hear some of this in the next Into Oblivion album, I bet.
Hey man, I'm putting those fake claps in. We're doing it, man.
Yeah, we got to bring it back.
Now we're talking.
Dan, closing words?
My closing words. I think this is.
Do you love this?
I do love this. I don't think every song is perfect. Actually, I think kind of a lot of the songs are possibly boring, but there's a lot of stuff in here that I think is interesting, and even with the structures and the songwriting, I think it's all very interesting. All the songs I played, or maybe besides Regret, just because I had to pick a third one. Dehumanize is terrific. I think that's a perfectly constructed metal song. Roses, I think, is a really great, just like doom interlude with a lot of great melodies. And I think that this band in general, I'm not one for metalcore or one for like anything that would really influence that. But I think the fact that this is Swedish death metal, it's a 94, and it's a band that I've liked for a long time. I think it's definitely an interesting listen for anybody, whether you love every single part or you love a couple parts. I think it's a totally solid thing, and it's definitely original. There's a nice mix of industrial and prog and like Gothenburg stuff. And I personally really like the vocals. I think the vocals are terrific, and the lyrics are very funny. So, yeah, cool album.
All right. Anything you want to leave us with, Roman?
Did I mention the whole thing about my and Kevin's joke band that we were going to come up with? Was that while we were talking while listening to the song, right?
Mm-hmm.
We didn't actually record that. Okay, yeah. So it's funny because this reminds me of when Kevin and I were at that Oshawa show with Cromwell years back. We were just having a drink, and we came up with this idea of having like a joke band that was supposed to be just like a stereotypical like early 90s avant-garde death metal band that was deliberately supposed to be sea level, and the whole idea was that it was supposed to have interesting ideas and ambitious, but it wasn't coherent. And that actually just kind of describes this album, to be honest. This is literally a quiet death. Kevin, I hope you enjoy listening to this podcast.
Hails to Kevin. No!